All right. Well, Dimitri, was this? Oh, you had this last time. So I don't have anything special for today. My personal update is I've been doing a ton of uh, contribution and design work for Substrate. Um, so that's been taking up a lot of my time, as well as reviewing PRs and other things like that. So mm, that's my update. Also hoping to also welcome back Jet. For those of you who are familiar with the Camino in Spain, he spent the last 3 weeks finding himself, and now he claimed he is the perfect version of himself. And no, I'm just kidding. But anyway, welcome back, Jet. We're happy to have you back. Looking forward to some more. Always need help with eyes on these PRs. So um, there are some pretty big PRs out right now that I do want to call out. Pretty big features. So we have um, the sharing of sessions from Brian, which I looked over his design and I've tacitly approved it. But we definitely but need to now do a deep dive on the code. So now that Chad is back, he's going to help out with that. We also have Dimitro. Sorry, there's another Dima whose name is. But anyway, so Dimitro, who's got a couple of big UI PRs out. So I know Peter, you've been helping out with those. So thanks so much. And then of course there's just general run of the mill bugs and everything else that's been going on. So with all that said, those are the updates I have. Does anyone else want to? Peter, do you want to give updates on the work you've been doing for Substrate and Kagent at all, or?
I can't do a demo because I don't think I have it set up. But there's a PR out. You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
So there's a PR out. I'm just looking for the link. That what it does is so the issue that we were having with just in general OpenClaw and let's say Hermes and anything else that we would want to add maybe later on is that OpenClaw supports WebSockets, right? As well as if we're not running in Substrate, right, you can connect through WebSockets and like router and then to the gateway, OpenClaw gateway, and that works fine, right? With the previous sandboxing solutions, we had an option of connecting directly to the OpenClaw, like a terminal UI, right? And that was done through SSH. That does not work with Substrate, right? So we had to find a way or figure out a way how to like bridge that somehow. So what I added in the PR is, so there's a thing called Agent Client Protocol. I'll paste a link in the chat if I can find the chat. There you go. So ACP Agent Client Protocol, it's basically it's a protocol that standardizes or tries to standardize, right, the communication between like the agents and then in this case I think it was the Z editor, right? Right.
Yeah.
It was a Z editor. Basically, a protocol that allows you to connect from something to like an agent, right? In our case, OpenClaw supports that. Hermes supports that. Codex, Claude Code, right? A lot of these agentic
is it supported? I think they support to consume the ACP or also as a provider.
I don't know what you mean by that, but they can run in the ACP mode, if you will, and then as a client, you can connect to it.
They can do both.
Okay.
Yeah, but yes, yeah. But in our case, we would be Cage and would be the client connecting through ACP, connecting through these agents, right, or harnesses. So basically, in short, what the PR does is it creates this ACP shim that translates from WebSockets to ACP, right? So that allows us, so that removes the need for us to like run SSH or anything in Substrate, right? So we can still use WebSockets to connect to the actor that runs this shim, and then within that actor, we either launch, let's say, Hermes in the ACP mode or OpenClaw in the ACP mode, right? Practically, the way it works is, so the shim is just a binary. We build an image, a Docker image with that shim, and then we have a Docker image, as like a separate Docker image for OpenClaw, separate Docker image for Hermes, that basically just launch Hermes and or OpenClaw in the ACP mode, right? So yeah, and then in the same PR, there's a lot of changes, but there's also a lot of code that's been removed. So anything OpenShell and Agent Sandbox related is removed from.
So we are saying that in the harness we can run any client which is ACP, which is supporting
Compatible.
ACP.
Yes.
Compatible.
Yes.
Correct. So we don't have that generic support yet. Right now, it's hard coded to OpenClaw and Hermes because we do a bunch of like magic to make those things easier on the back end. Peter and I actually talked a lot about this. But in the future, we're planning to have essentially like the equivalent of a BYO, where you can just bring your own ACP thing and we'll interact with it.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, you can do this already.
And what is the life cycle in this case when you initialize this ACP? Because it's supposed to be like it runs in the background, right, until you call shutdown, right? So it's a persistent. So how do you manage?
It's the same as if anything else would be running inside Substrate, right? Like inside Substrate, when you do like
my question is like, okay, when you send a request to it, right, when do you know that is it end of session or end of complete end of ACP client?
When do we know what? Had to shut down?
Yeah.
Which part?
We're not shutting it down automatically now, if that makes sense.
Okay, so you run it in the background and basically forwarding messages via ACP, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, it runs like when the actor resumes, right? It's the ACP thing runs there, and that's the thing that brokers the communication, right? So when you suspend the actor, that thing gets stored, it dies. When you resume it back, it's going to start back up.
Yeah. I don't want to get too fancy about automatic idleness for systems yet. I think we can try and go further down that path later.
Yeah, so there is what I did add in the UI is the so you create an agent harness, Hermes, OpenClaw, doesn't really matter, right? We start the actor, it's gonna do it does the golden snapshot, then it launches the actor, actually starts it. That starts the ACP shim. That starts the OpenClaw gateway and or whatever Hermes ACP thing is, right? Make sure that it's running. And then when you chat with try to chat with the agent, we just go through the WebSocket and then go between the ACP does the translation between the like standard IO and the WebSockets, right? So it's just messages at that point. And then you have an ability to manually suspend that actor if you want to. But once it starts, it keeps running, right? We don't have like, I send a message and now we're going to take it down, and then if I send another message, we're going to wake it up.
The other thing I want to say is that like anything that we're doing here is very much open to, changing, whether it be immediately or very soon. Like this is all very experimental and in a good way, right? Like we want to get this in and we want to get people playing with it, but also like we need, being honest with ourselves that this is, we are playing around, like we're figuring this out live.
Yeah, but the other thing that I want to bring up is, and we went back and forth a couple of times with this one, is, and we'll probably have to figure it out, or at least talk about it at some point, is, so when you create an agent harness, you get a single actor, and then within that actor, you can have multiple sessions, right? So you can start a new session being new chat, right? So multiple sessions, multiple chats, but all that is within a single actor. Like we did play around with an option where clicking a new, let's say new chat, would actually start up a new pod, a new actor, right? So you would get a multiple, each session would have its own actor, if that makes sense, right? The issue there is, or the problem that we'll have to figure out if you want to support that model at some point, is how do we connect to Slack and or Telegram and any of the other channels? Because you cannot have multiple, instances
Which
connecting
I've been
to.
thinking about this, Peter. I think
Yeah.
Kagent needs to own that at some point.
Yeah, I mean, we need a new component or some third component that will be managing that somehow, right? Because the problem is you cannot have two instances of something polling the same either Telegram, because that's going to fail, right? Telegram straight up fails. Slack works, but the problem is if you have multiple things listening for a single bot, you cannot control where that message is sent. You can send the response was going to go back to the same thing, right? The problem is, like, how do you know which actor the message gets passed to? So you might lose the context, right? So that's something that we'll need to figure out.
Currently, like if you run, let's say, Hermes, right? It starts component which is called gateway. And that gateway component internally supports like WhatsApp, Telegram, and all of this, right? Like all components.
Yes.
So when you run ICP, it's a different mode. You are starting different agent. You are running Hermes ACP, and that one's specifically connected to your chat where you want another session.
So we still run the gateway, right? We still run the gateway in there.
Okay.
Yeah, but the problem is, like, if you have one Hermes instance and then you run a gateway that then pulls Slack or Telegram or whatever, that works fine. But now imagine if we do like a one-to-one session to actor model, then you're basically running two instances of the Hermes agent, of the same agent, connecting to the same Slack, connecting to the same Telegram, which is just not going to work.
No,
using the same tokens, same tokens, right? Like if you use the same bot token, Telegram straight up just does not work. It's not going to work. And then for Slack, the problem is that you have multiple like clients, again, with the same token connecting to it. It works one way, but it's not going to work the other way because it might go to a different instance, right? So that's out in the PR if people want to take a look or try it out. But yeah.
Lots of open questions there. Again, nothing set in stone. Like this is all very much, like it's a new compute paradigm. It's a new everything. We're figuring it out, and also substrate's changing. We're constantly iterating with them and on our fork and everything. So things here are definitely open to change.
Yeah. Also, the other thing, and again, this is like extra super future thing, if we ever want to support it. When Dimitri, when you were asking about, is there like Hermes has a gateway, right? Yes. The reason we run a gateway is so you can have access to the agent from the Telegram and or Slack, right? But there never was support for, at least not in Kagent, for you to launch a Hermes agent, configure it with Telegram, then go to Telegram, send a message to it, and then see that session in Kagent. We never had support for that.
Yeah, because
we
it
wa-
requires deeper integration, right?
Yes. Yeah. It would basically it's basically two separate Telegram sessions. You see them on Telegram. Kagent sessions, you'll see them on Kagent, but there's no crossover between those, right?
Yeah.
Because one is being hosted by the gateway, the Telegram thing, and the other one is doing the ACP.
And I think from the from those Hermes or other OpenClaw guys, the gateway is managing a multiple sessions under the hood, right? For different Telegram, for like what you mentioned, for different channels. And the only way to integrate into it Kagent, it will be go and do some plugins or rewrite the core, right?
Yes.
Of
yes.
that one.
If we wanted to do OpenClaw, we want to see all the sessions, share everything, get a deeper integration. At least for OpenClaw, we would have to do their own native plugin, right?
Maybe it could be done the same way, they support a different UI, so you can connect to gateway, use gateway API to retrieve sessions and other stuff, and do another shim. But
but then we don't have the model that we have with this is you can go and someone can go and implement that if they wanted to.
For me, this is a nice thing at the moment to have, because at the end, you see, either you run it inside and we can run it as NemoClaw, as OpenClaw, as Hermes to show it, right? To showcase. But maybe for real production, it makes sense to create our own kind of more integrated Go-based written ADK agent, which will act allow integration.
Like a long-running agent.
There are other claws. There are zero claw or other type of claws. Some of them even Go-based, which you can do really a deep integrated with ADK, deep integrate with Kagent, and then maybe provide all of those functionality with sessions, with everything. Because if you go with ACP, it's limited. It's it's done as a layer to work with editors, right? With Z or with IntelliJ. But it's give you write file, read file, some processes, session memory, and stuff like this. And this is something we can take and put in the chat, fine. But this is not give you a full management of all internals.
I don't disagree with you, but then again, these are not we can do both if we want to, right? I'm just thinking it's easier to tell people come to Kagent because we support OpenClaw and we support Hermes and
definitely no
whatever
that's
versus
fine.
telling them, hey, no, we have our own thing that's but we could definitely do.
Understand.
We can do that if we wanted to, right? There's nothing preventing us from doing that. Only the time.
But it's priorities. What we want to do and invest more time, and what we actually just keep as a option to. We run, for example, run the agent. You configure the agent, and basically you communicate with that agent using your WhatsApp or Telegram, right? Maybe you are not opening Kagent to talk to your Hermes all the time, because that's the idea of the Hermes, because it runs in the background, it lives somewhere else, and you talk to it on the go. At least for me.
But are you saying add support in Kagent to connect to Kagent agents via Telegram, or?
No, I'm saying we can just host it internally, right? Give some integration that you can run it inside the secure sandbox. We can control all of this substrate, configuration and so on. But I think we don't need maybe a deep ACP mode or too much invest into it. From my point of view, those type of agents, they run in the background and they just serve as, like you said, for Slack or for Telegram, for WhatsApp. They are not really the main first-class agents which you call from Kagent itself. You see what I mean? It's it's more like a dawn. It's more like, okay, we run it in secure way, but like the other way around, do you see that it's some deployment, someone will use Hermes as a main orchestrator for all the operations? Is
I mean,
that
it's the same as if you're saying like, will people use OpenClaw and run it on Kagent, right?
yeah, but
Right. I mean, it's this. I think it's just an option. If people want to run Hermes, they can, and they have Kubernetes.
yes, but at the end, the OpenClaw in Hermes is nothing else as as some kind of harness with memory, with sessions, with cron jobs which are repeating, right? And integration with a gateway, which is like all the external Telegram, WhatsApp, Discord, and so on and so on. So if you break it down on those parts, then you can build the same one, as I said, using more native integration. There is like
You can, but it's I'm just saying it's you have to go and tell people, hey, come build my stuff and use my stuff versus I want to use OpenClaw. I'm not advocating for one or the other. I think what you're saying is maybe we need a native agent harness option that's Kagent flavored, or just like we have declarative, right? We have declarative agents that are built, that are opinionated. We made opinion, like it was created from our opinions, right? It's our stuff. This is how we run it, right? And you can't do anything. If you want to run it your way, you have BYO, right? And then similar for agent harness, maybe we should say, hey, we have an agent harness type, which is Kagent agent harness, right? And then it's a opinionated harness that we create, and that's it. Or you can say, well, BYO, and BYO options are OpenClaw, Hermes, or bring any of the your own Docker images that we can run, right?
For what it's worth, I think that our ADK declarative thing will turn into that, right? I think that's where it will go over time.
Yes. Yeah. Or that way. Yeah, exactly. Right. Just basically have a long running thing that's like an equivalent, I guess, for like a long running agent harness, OpenClaw, Hermes, whatever. Right.
Yeah. But what is missing in the current declarative agent to have the same functionality as any claw? What do you think we are missing?
Well, it's not a lot, probably, I would say.
No. Crons, channels, better file support. I mean, I don't know.
A lot, yeah.
No, those aren't that many things. I mean, the reality
there's not, like, reality is it takes time to build those, right?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I do think, Dimitri, I think you're onto something. And again, I think we'll get there. But I think also there's a lot of people who just want a secure way to run harnesses, like existing harnesses. So I think we're trying to also meet, in the middle. It's like what people are looking for, and what, and then also trying to be prescriptive. So I think that,
I think it'll have to be a shift from here's the instance of my agent versus here's the template that I have for my agent, and then I can stamp out multiple instances of that. Because like today, when I create a Hermes agent, I can start a session and say, hey, install these 7 skills from these GitHub repos, and I'll go and install them. I can't do that with our declarative agent because all the tools and everything is defined beforehand. But if those agents had access to the tools that they would need to install those things, and have like a persistent session, right?
And this is one of the main differences between our declarative agent and Hermes, for example, right? Because Hermes has a file system where he can actually create evolution-based, kind of
it updates
self-created skills, different things that you store your sessions, then you can go back and learn on those sessions overnight and then improve and stuff like that, right? So that's a bit slightly different model than our fixed declarative, right? And on the other side, it has also like different downsides, like sometimes it creates too many things that you don't need, or skills which are not really proven, that not really evaluated. It's like I'm fine.
I would no. I mean, it's fine, but then we're in. It's almost like it's a shift of, and we can do both. Again, I don't know. I'm not the. What I'm trying to say is, it's if we want to focus on creating yet another opinionated agent harness, we can do that, right? And we can say, okay, Kagent has this declarative thing, and we're adding all the other features to it, and then we're basically saying our declarative agents are yet another way. Like it's an OpenClaw equivalent or Hermes equivalent at that point, right? It's just opinionated.
Long running, basically long running with file system with
and opinionated, right? And then thinking, because if we start doing that, then we'll get compared. People will be like, well, but OpenClaw has Sol.md and whatnot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does Kagent agents have that, or how does that work there? Then we're in the harness business. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying be there
which
or
is
not be
which is
there.
not
I'm
that
just
bad.
saying-
Which is not that bad. I mean,
I'm not saying good or bad, but that wasn't the that wasn't the direction.
The point is,
right?
because Hermes is Python based, right? OpenClaw is Node based. Both of them, from security point of view, bring tons of dependencies which we cannot control, right? And if you're serious about running something in secure way, at some point you will be very much concerned, like either I isolate it completely, I add a lot of sandboxing, a lot of control, or maybe you reduce the chances by using like Go based, ADK based, static, something very, very minimal where you don't have all of these issues. Yeah, I know there is another problem of how we run skills and how we evolve different other integrations. So eventually we bring Python anyway, but
yeah, it's I don't see it as Python, Node, or Go in this case, right? It's more of a but we have a way today. If let's say you or someone else wants to go, and I want to build my own OpenClaw and or Hermes-like agent, you could, with this ACP and everything, you can build it on your own if you want to. You can make it in Go, just build your custom image, and then from Kagent you can point to your custom image, and we'll run it. We'll assume that it's calling, there's an ACP shim in there, right?
I'm not sure the ACP is the answer for that, because ACP is for editors again. It's
not for editors. It's being used for editors.
Yes,
right.
But I'm okay. I'll need to
look.
look.
If there's a better protocol that we should use, or a different one, let's pick that one.
My understanding is, if you use ACP, you actually spin up the process which is used from your editor, and it has this special tools for file, like search files, read file, write file, terminal and processes, and you also have the in the protocol itself, you have building blocks which typically used in editor. So you can start a session, you can open editor for change the file, right? But this is not something that is
so like, okay. I hate to interrupt, but we do have another topic that someone I think is joining for the first time wants to chat about. So I do think that this is worth following up on. If we want, if they're interested, if there are details about ACP that we don't think is correct for this use case, it's definitely worth, like, let's get that hammered out now. Dmitry, if you want to comment on that, on the PR that Peter made, I think that'd be great. But I do want to give David, I think this is your first time joining, so first of all, welcome, David. The opportunity to talk about this issue and this comment. So, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, my problem statement is kind of that the UI is open and unprotected. So one start is to add OAuth authentication, but it's kind of binary. So my use case is really different user bases which aren't developers, so they won't be using MCPs and stuff. Our UI is good for them. We would typically authenticate via Entra or something and have claims. So I want to give them access to different agents, and then I control what tools the agents can use. Because today, if you just install it out of the box, it's actually powerful NCP access to delete resources and update and so on. And the UI is unauthenticated. So as soon as you have authentication, I think the next natural step is authorization. And then, well, one needs some way to kind of express those authorizations. So my suggestion is to base this based on the claims in the JBT, and perhaps use some expression language like cell in order to express those. So
don't we already have? I mean, we already have auth, and right, we already have the OAuth proxy that you can use.
Yeah, so that's what I'm using.
Okay.
So I'm thinking the next step is to, because the authorizer today is NoOp.
Yeah.
You can put in the trust, but then again, you trust really the controller, I believe. So what we need is some way to kind of control access per agent based off the claims.
Yeah. So is this, I think that makes sense to me. Is this something you're interested in contributing, or just sort of bringing up to the community?
Yeah, I want to just surface it so I don't waste my time. So I have this issue here where I try to outline it. Then I have this CAP or whatever you call it, where we can discuss the design, and I could provide our implementation if you are interested. I think it should be non-breaking because you have the flag where you choose which authorizer to use and so on. So it could be brought on to the ones that are interested. Yeah, you can keep the open model, which you perhaps are interested in because it showcases very easily to our user base what's there.
Yeah,
so my goal is to kind of get the architecture vetted so that I could move to the next step about implementing.
And this is authorization on the agent itself, right? Because in tools, if you go via like agent gateway or something, you have already cell and permissions.
No, this is specifically for the controller. This is not for agent to agent or agent to tools. This is specifically what folks have access to, what folks who are logged into the UI have access to.
So this is basically the create agent, create models, modify, all of that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Would this cover the? So quick question, would this cover the MCP, expose the controller as an MCP that I could potentially put different rules? Authorization for the controller, for the Kagent controller when I'm driving through MCP client? This is only for the UI.
It's a great question. We don't have CLI authentication today. Honestly, I don't know exactly how that would work, but it's a great question. But it would need it. I mean, because routes would be locked down. So, yeah, it's a good question. I don't know what the behavior would be today. But if there were an authorizer in place, then I mean, I can check that route specifically. But assuming that route passes through the authorizer, then yes, I can check that now. Though
we can assume that CLI, if it's logged in with kubectl and everything, it will be kind of admin mode via kubectl, perhaps, or
it depends. I mean, if you're using like cursor, right, to talk to the MCP endpoint from the HTTP server.
Oh, okay, like MCP, you mean this invoke agent MCP, or?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
I'm trying to find where
Yeah,
that is.
for that one, I think we also need to enable authorization in some way.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out where that code even lives.
Because the UI, as soon as we enable OAuth proxy, right? So you basically port forward not to the usual UI, you port forward to the OAuth proxy.
Yep.
And the controller goes directly, currently, the MCP. So they are like totally different routes.
I see.
Port 8083. So it should be, currently it's not restricted that way.
Okay, unless it's going through a
Yeah,
proxy.
and we can also, in your case, you can also expose the Kagent MCP via another agent gateway. So then you can have a authorization.
Yeah, that might be easier.
Because this one
in
is
that
different
case.
level. This one is different level. This is just for OAuth proxy and UI.
Okay.
Yeah, and it looks like this particular route does not have authentication on it. But yeah, this is definitely a detail we could figure out. Ideally, yes, Lynn, like that, absolutely.
Okay, thanks. I was just curious. Yeah.
But also question is like, should it include also the visibility of some components? Because we can also filter the list based on that access, right? Some agents will not be visible if you don't have that group, or some menu items will not be visible.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think there was some snag with that. And I see various other users have been around this subject before. It's just that it's brand open today. So that's kind of a deal breaker for us. And if it stays that way, we need to do something else. I mean, for MCP access and so on, we go through agent gateway, and that gives us all the bells and whistles around access control and stuff. This is more for non-technical people to interact with the declarative agents, which I find as a quite nice sweet spot, because it enables a lot of our developers to provide agent tooling towards,
Yeah, I think it's clear. Yes, it's definitely something
that
that
makes
we're
sense.
missing. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. You said, where was it?
I think as soon as we will be able to define some kind of rules for API, it can be also translated into some UI rules where we can, do read-only for certain actions, like, remove the option to edit, for example, and remove new buttons.
yeah, and it's also a nice UI thing, because we wouldn't expose agents that they aren't actually able to talk to.
Can you, Dimitro, can you help review this as well?
Yeah.
Lynn, something that David said, and I would love for you to weigh in on this, is he said that, where is it? Hold on. You said, David, that this will come as a requirement from the CNCF in order to be able to graduate to the next level.
Yeah, sooner or later, all CNCF projects, they need to do this security review. And I think our default installation, where powerful tools are open by default installation, would perhaps become a problem.
Yeah.
One thing is to opt into it, and of course you could just have a knob there, but in the end, to make this really usable in a real business context, you need authentication and access control.
Yeah, definitely.
Is that a requirement for incubation?
Not incubation.
Because I know for project like Istio, it doesn't even have a dashboard, just so you know.
Well, the problem is, Lynn, that because Kagent ships like the dashboard is a big part of Kagent, which is very different than a lot of other CNCF projects. So I actually don't. I think we need to get honestly, like, we need to get to the bottom of that.
Yes,
we can take
there
that
will be.
offline.
Yeah, there will definitely be security reviews as part of the moving process beyond sandbox. Yeah, I just don't remember the exact requirement between incubation and graduation. My thinking is graduation is typically have higher requirements. David, I was just wondering, since you are new to this meeting, I think the user case you just mentioned, well, the design doc we will review offline, but the user case you are mentioning about agent gateway combined with K-agent controller exposed as MCP, I think that's a very common user cases. I was wondering, would you be open to kind of provide a sample configuration? Because I think it would be beneficial to the community to kind of talk about that pattern, because that's a good way to kind of provide security against the MCP server for K-agent.
Come again, I lost my video here in the start. Could you just reiterate the start of that?
Just the one you said, you put the agent gateway in front of K-agent MCP server. Would you be open to talk about that or share your configuration? Because I think that pattern would be useful for other people as well in the community.
Yeah, sure. Do you want it in writing or blog post, or what do you prefer?
Yeah, maybe we can follow up. Where can I find you? It would be, are you on Discord?
He's on
maybe
Discord.
I'll follow up with you offline. All right, thank you.
Discord or LinkedIn, just hook up. So.
Your name is very popular on LinkedIn. I just checked.
He has a bunch of issues. Lynn, I can send you his info.
Okay, yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I mean the broad strokes of this issue definitely make sense to me, David. I think we'll yeah, Dimitri, if you could take a look as well, and we'll take a look at this async over the next few days, and we can have further discussion about any details or specifics that might come up.
I opened another pull request 2051 for this SSO. Actually, since we are talking about it, I've noticed that during my adoption, when I started to use it with SSO, with AUS proxy, that there is an issue when you can have the token which is expired, the OIDC token when it's expired, and then your cookie is still valid for the proxy, so it was not handling this properly. So I created a PR where actually it would redirect you in case it's expired token. And it was visible also in UI when this get current user would return like empty result. There is no clear username, no context, who is that? So if you can also have a look, any comments there?
Yeah, absolutely. Peter, UIs are? Says no. All right. No, we
Sorry, no.
we can definitely take a look.
I was looking for the unmute button. What was the question?
PR 2051.
I don't know by number.
There's no question.
PR.
Dimitri was just asking for us to give it a review.
Yeah.
If it's the UI stuff I've been looking at, like there's stuff that
It's
I've
the
been
one I sent you in the chat, Peter. Yeah, we have it in the chat in Discord.
Yeah, there's a note that 8, and there's also like controller changes. So I can't be the sole reviewer, and I can approve, but nothing's gonna change.
Okay, well then send it to me. I'll also say, guys, this is both a beautiful and a terrible problem. There are a lot of PRs lately. So just so y'all are aware, these guys over at Giant Swarm just decided to build their platform on top of Kagent. So they're pushing a ton of PRs. So, there's a lot of changes coming in on top of everything that's happening with Substrate. So it's, we're doing our best over here. And we're obviously super
again,
thrilled.
which company is that? What is the
Giant Swarm?
Giant swarm. Okay. Just because you said it in the way that Giant Swarm was attacking GitHub PRs, it sounds like logical.
All right. We're at time, so I think we can call it for today. Anyone else have anything you want to chat about?
I just wanted to hear from Peter if he has more time to finish these PRs or not, or what is the one with the chat MCP UI?
Yeah, I'll take a look at it. I was in like the meetings for the past 2 hours, so yeah, I want to run it locally and try it out. But yeah, Ethan needs to take a look as well.
Okay.
It's not just me. I can approve, but you won't be able to merge because I don't have
Yeah,
power.
send it to me. Send it to me. Send it to me.
It's
power
Ethan you
here.
have to ask too. It's harder.
Yeah. No, I just get, yeah, don't worry. So just send it over to me. I'll take a look. All righty.
Okay.
All righty. Talk to y'all later.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye.
See you,
Thanks.
everybody.
Bye.